So today we're going to be taking a look at every single 300mm ever. Or probably most, because there's probably some that are not known. Like there are some 300mm from different countries, because the 300mm design is very popular. I'm pretty sure there's about like 24 different 300mm on this list. Oh, and speaking of the list, Krista Mouse made this list, so shout out to him. He's the guy with the grayish profile picture. You can somewhat see a tower, but there's just clouds and sunlight. So if you ever see him around, then he's the guy who made all this. So we're going to start off the list with, first off, this is I read through half of this, and I'm pretty sure it's just going by oldest to newest 300mm. So yeah, we're going to be looking at the oldest 300mm ever. This here is the father of all 300mm. So the first 300mm ever made. This model was manufactured. How? Why did I? Right, it was manufactured by Westinghouse starting from 1933 and was called Airways Code Beacon. Also the very first traditional obstruction beacon design. I like this one. Too bad they're very rare because it is the very first 300mm. I like that base. You see that base? That looks cool and unique nowadays because most 300mm nowadays just look the same. Alright, here's our second one. I remember this one. This here is a weird looking one. What I believe to be the second 300mm design and the more typical looking one too. This model was manufactured by GE, General Electric. I'm not sure when this started production, and the model name is unknown. Yes, GE makes everything. I wouldn't be surprised if GE made guns or just even just weapons in general to complete tanks or stuff like that. If something exists, you already know GE made their own version of that. And when it comes to 300mm, they did. They're just like, ooh, we like this. What about we make our own version? Alright, so here's one of the cooler looking ones. This is a very unique looking 300mm. The manufacturer and the model name of this beacon is unknown. Unknown. That unknown sounded weird. The model looks very disinfective as its cap is shaped like a muffin. Yeah, take a look at that. I believe this is for heat ventilation. I would hope they had something in there to prevent rainwater getting inside. Oh my god, my screen just stopped for a little bit. And I believe it uses asbestos, an asbestos gasket shown in the photo to the right. As you can see, you got some asbestos from a few years ago. Now this is what I call an asbestos lunchbox. Throw a little piece of pizza in it, and really, then there you go. Alright, so here's a classic. The classic Crows. Every time I hear somebody pronounce this, it changes. I'm just going to pronounce it Cruise Heinz. Okay, so Cruise Heinz model FCB12. These started production during the early 1960s and probably one of the more common filtered 300mm you'd see in the USA. This is also Mersen's favorite beacon, which Mersen is Crease the Mouse. If for the people who don't know, in this picture it doesn't have any filters. Sadly, it look the picture quality and just how clean the beacon is just looks so nice. Too bad there's no filters in it. That would have been cool. This dude would have gotten himself some cool pictures. I mean, they're already cool, but without the filters, they're not just that, you know. Next, we got these two, which they're pretty sure they're I have no idea what happened there. Unknown manufacturers. These are the only two photos of these models I could find. So yeah, these are some forgotten 300 millimeters, I guess you can say. Not just forgotten by the community, but by literally everybody, I guess, because we don't even know who made these. Alright, we got another one with a muffin top on it. Actually, it looks more like an exhaust vent. Well, actually, no, that's what it is. My bad. Alright, so this here is the first Huey and Phillips KG114. Just like number 3 on the list, this model also has a distinctive muffin-shaped cap used for ventilation. This earlier model in particular is more rare compared to the other KG114s you'll see on this list. Yeah, take a look at this. Doesn't that look cool? Especially the picture on the right, the far right, not, you know, right, middle, left, you know. I like that. That looks pretty cool. Looks like it has a broken filter. This is the second Huey and Phillips KG114. Likely the most common filter 300mm in the USA. These started production in the mid 1960s, I believe. So yeah, you would see these a lot. Really, most 300mm look the same when you see them on the roads and when you see them up on towers. Can't really tell a difference unless you had a camera and you zoomed in to the beacon. This here's one of my favorites, even though it is quite overused. I love the cap design. You see that? It's round with the HP logo on it. Our next one is the third Huey and Phillips KG114 design. Less common compared to the previous model. These have the more known and iconic aluminum KG114 housing. That's all the newer KG114s would adopt. This here is my favorite 300mm, as you can see. I like my favorite thing about it is actually no, my favorite thing about it is how it just lights up, because what's a beacon if it doesn't light up? All right, one of my favorite things about it is the base. You see that? 4 legs, or you can only see 2, but all of them have 4 legs when they have this aluminum base. That's what really sells it for me. That just looks so cool, so iconic and stuff. Next up, another filtered old school 300mm. This here is the first Ron MFG Co. Model B1 300mm. This design is unique because of its cap that tapers out towards the bottom. I believe this is also for heat ventilation. These started production during the late 1960s. So we got another classic. We all know Ron and stuff. It's just this is just a classic beacon when it comes to beacons. And I think this is Aiden's favorite beacon. I don't know. But his favorite beacon is also a 300mm if you forgot. Our next one is the second Ron MFG Co. Model B1 300mm. These are known for their aviation orange paint aluminum housings and the large caps, but less common on towers. These started production during the early 1970s. All right, so the first version is pretty iconic, but this one is easily even more iconic. You just can't get past the you just look at the orange. That's a classic orange when it comes to the tower community. All right, next up, I believe this is the last the last old school filter 300mm. All right, my bad. One of the last. Oh wait, crap. All right, that slide we didn't even we're not even on that one slide right now. So this here is the third Ron MFG Co. Model B1 300mm. They have a more plain design, commonly mistaken for the TWR 300mm. But even though it looks almost exactly like the TWR 300mm, This here, it's a filtered one, and tower enthusiast who have been in the community for at least at least half of a year, I guess, should know that uh, TWR does not make old school 300 millimeters. They only made the modern versions, which they don't have the filters. They're all red. The lens, the everything except for the housing is red. So yeah, it does look pretty basic. These are slightly more common than the previous B1 models, but lack the aviation orange paint. I believe production started sometime during the 1970s. Next, we got these two. Actually, it's the same beacon, but with different colors. Oh, this is the yeah. If you're wondering, I read through this, but I guess I wasn't paying attention because this company that made this 300 millimeter made that one street light behind my local Kroger building. Revere, I
Revere.
All right, that's how I pronounced it in my mind. So it's the Revere Electric 300 millimeter. Not much is known about these models, but they have a unique cap that allows heat ventilation and are sometimes painted an aviation orange color, just like the Ron 300 millimeters. So you can see that yellow one. It looks like it was formerly aviation orange. Actually, I just realized that the yellow coat, I bet was probably just another layer that would be below the. I bet you know what I'm talking about. Moving on. Here's one of the cool slides. Well, I mean they're all cool because they have the information and stuff. But this here, I just like all of these because they look so cool. We got the mismatched ones, the hybrid 300 millimeters. These are pre-existing 300 millimeters that have had their parts replaced with other models, usually due to damage such as lens or the aluminum housings. So we got a half and a half. We got one with a different base, I guess. I don't know. That's literally just the most normal looking one out of all of these, I guess you can say. We got another half and half, but with a red filter, and it's reversed too. The filtered one is on top while the other one is below. And then we got this one. You see that? 90% clear, 10% red. And then we got the broken one with no filters. And now for the very first modern 300 millimeter. So the modern 300 millimeters are the 300 millimeters that have red lens. So from now on, or maybe from now on, you will not see the filters inside. They have all been replaced by the red lens because all the companies had a big revolution. They're just like, why did we not do this? This here is the TWR 300 millimeter, arguably the most common 300 millimeter model used in the USA and internationally. Production started sometime in the 1980s, and these changed 300 millimeters forever. TWR was the first to use these red lens, which acted as both a filter and a lens, and also removed the big aluminum gasket, allowing for more light to escape the bulb. These lenses are also removed the inconvenience of replacing broken filters. Many companies adopted the lens, and any 300 millimeter made after these were now using the new red design. So yes, TWR is a game changer. Well, I mean, they were a game changer. Arguably, this here is their biggest gamer move. And then finally, the fourth Huey and Phillips KG114, and probably the most iconic looking 300 millimeter. There were multiple different versions of these modern red KG114s, but they're all generally the same, so I won't put them on the list separately. The first one uses the same aluminum ring for the lens as the older filter 300 millimeters. They later removed those, and Honeywell eventually bought out Huey and Phillips, and the HP stamp on the top of the cap was also removed. The cap design was also changed at some point. Notice the difference on the caps on the left and the middle. So yeah, as you can see, it's different. It looks like the base never changed. You can also see the ring. The ring is missing too. We got a dusty boy over here. This looks like another TWR 300 millimeter. Look at that base. All right. All right. Well, oh, it's STL. All right. The specialty tower lighting, STL RB300. Generally basic looking design. First model looked identical to the TWR 300 millimeter, but they later switched to another design that has a similar base to the how do you pronounce this?
Kraus.
Kraus Heinz FCB12, and that has a taller cap. We got another one with a ring, as you can see. The Kraus Heinz FCB12. Virtually no difference between these and the original filtered FCB12s, other than the red lens. There were two types of these. Earlier models used aluminum rings for the lens. Later models removed these in favor of the silicone gasket sealing the lens together. We got another basic looking one. The International Tower Lighting, ITL. We finally made it to ITL. So this is the BCN 0300, similar in design to the TWR 300 millimeter, but this model uses a unique square mount. Yes, the square mount is the only reason why this 300 millimeter is somewhat unique. Would be nice if there's would be nice if somebody if never mind, let's move on. We got some special ones here. This here is probably the first. Yeah, this here is the first 300 millimeter on the list that is not red. The point lighting POL PFB 30,000, similar in design to the newer KG114 models. This is also a very unique 300 millimeter. The aluminum is painted aviation yellow. It comes in two colors, the typical red lens and then a very unique green lens. The green PFB 30,000s are used for the helipads and are connected to a controller that flashes in Morse code. Okay, Morse code beacon. I wish we had these at the Rolla Hospital. That would be so cool to film. We have a helicopter landing pad there. We got a basic boy. The fourth Ron MFG Co. Model B1 300 millimeter uses the same aluminum housing as the previous B1 model. There are three versions of these. One uses the aluminum rings for the lens, the other uses rubber gaskets for the lens, and the last one uses a common silicone gasket for sealing the lens together. These beacons are relatively common and easily mistaken for the TWR 300 millimeters. You know, I probably mistaken this for the TWR 300 millimeter a few times. Just look at the base. Look at the base. See, that's the problem with the 300 millimeters are just carbon copies of other 300 millimeters. Somewhat, you know. Now we got special ones. We got some special 300 millimeters. These are some international 300 millimeters. These are unidentified brands and models. The photo to the left is LED. So yes, we got our first 300 millimeter that has an imposter in it. So yeah, it's just and I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for I've been waiting for this to pop up on the list so I can just tell you this right now. If you look close enough to the half of a 300 millimeter on the left, you can kind of see what looks like Ronald McDonald's face. I am not kidding. That looks like him. You can see the face, and you can kind of see his wig. You can also kind of see his neck. Like what the hell? I wonder if the person who took the photo of the 300 millimeter was just basically cosplaying as Ronald McDonald because he looks just like it. It looks just like him. Look, Ronald McDonald is trapped inside of a 300 millimeter. Well, actually, more like a 150 300 a 150 millimeter. All right, so here's our other two 300 millimeters. One looks basic as shit, and then the other one looks so unique. That looks pretty cool. All right, so let's start off with the middle one because we are going in order. This here is the SB 300 MED. This here is another 150 millimeter. Yep, that's why I like to call these half 300 millimeters. And then the other one is just a bigger version. This here is the SB 300 millimeter. So yeah, looks just like the TWR 300 millimeter. I also forgot to mention the yellow paint on the left 150 300 millimeter. As you can see, just a weird looking 300 millimeter with Ronald McDonald's face inside of it. Well, reflected on it. Alright, here are some of my favorites. These are some more 150 millimeters. The Brighter Idea L865 strobe. So the strobe 300 millimeter, which stands for white only if you didn't know. Rather than using 4 lenses, these only use 2. Not much is known about these, but they are very unique and just equally rare. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that look cool? I love how tall the cap is. I wish these were not too. I wish these were American beacon. Oh wait, I have no idea if Brighter Idea is an American company. I have never seen any of these in person in my life whatsoever. I wonder what night mode they have. There is no video of these at all, sadly. Alright, this here is the dual version of this. This here is the Brighter Idea dual 300 millimeter. This is an L865 L864 dual system compacted into one housing. The top half is a strobe and the bottom half is incandescent. Yeah, incandescent. That uses a standard Mongol pre-focus bulb. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Not much is known about this model, and there's only a few high quality photos of it, but it is a very rare 300 millimeter beacon. I wish this was common. This looks so cool. I also love how it's a hybrid of two different types of beacons. Alright, moving on. Oh, I see why. When I saw it, I was like, wait, why is this a 300 millimeter? And then I looked at the bottom, I was like, oh, that's the 300 millimeter lens. Yeah, this one uses two 300 millimeter lens, and it just has a gigantic strobe on it, which those are also called 300 millimeter strobes and stuff. Hopefully they don't make an appearance on this because this is going to be a long ass video. So, oh, this is actually the last one on the list. All right, last one on the list is the STL L865 L864 dual system, which means it's red and white, obviously. This is still technically a 300 millimeter beacon since the bottom half of these units uses a 300 millimeter lens for the night mode. There's probably more information on this model somewhere, but it's currently unavailable. Another very unique one, and a lot different compared to all the other 300 millimeter models. All right, so there's just one more that I need to show off real fast. So yeah, it's not anything too special because it's literally just the Brighter Idea 300 millimeter all over again, but instead of the white half being on top, The white half is on bottom while the red half is on top. This was hard to find for some reason. Just I literally, yeah, this is literally just the crappy little, just a crappy little edit of it. So yeah, mind the quality. That's just god awful. But it's literally just the brighter idea strobe, but upside down basically. Some people say that it's fully strobe, and then others say that that now people are saying that the red half inside of it, but the red half is LED instead of strobe. I don't know. It's whatever, I guess. Wow, looking for this. I actually ran into others. I got some bonuses, and I also got at least one more to show you, or two. I forgot. Okay, so I found this one. This here is a beacon we probably already covered. Maybe a TWR or another one like I don't know, just a very basic looking 300 millimeter. But the thing is, there's only half of it. So this is literally just another 150 millimeter. And it looks like it might have been done on purpose because there's even a little cap on top of it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure why they would have done that anyways. Looks cool anyway. And then we got this. We got most of it, but there's just one quarter that's missing. Yeah, just not even half that's missing. Just a little piece of it is just missing. So it just looks like a midget 300 millimeter. I'm not going to call this a 150 millimeter. I'm just going to call this the midget 300 millimeter from now on. This here is another international 300 millimeter. It's an old school filtered one. As you can see, it looks just like a Ron 300 millimeter, but the cap looks different, and there's also a ring around the top. I can't tell if the base is different or not. It's whatever, really. But yeah, there's that. Just another international 300 millimeter. And then we got this one. This here is believed. I believe it's one of the very first strobes ever made. All it is just half of a 300 millimeter. So this is just another 150 millimeter strobe, just like what we looked at earlier. That brighter idea strobe has two lenses. You can see the ring around it too. Has a chain. Has a electrical box. Yeah, it even has a little cap on it. And then this here is basically just it would have been the bottom half of that one international 300 millimeter that kind of looked like it had Ronald McDonald's face reflected off of it. But there's just one obvious thing that sets both apart. One has a filter in it, this one, and the other one has the red lens. So yeah, there's that. Also has the aviation yellow paint on it. And then we have this. What is this? It looks like the base along with a cap are pure plastic. That's what it looks like. This must be another international 300 millimeter. This is a funny 300 millimeter. I like it. There's one last 300 millimeter that I wanted to talk about. It's pretty sure it's just one we already looked at, but this one here is a little different from those. There's a picture somewhere online on Google, but for some reason I can't find it. That's the one thing I don't like about making these types of videos is when I'm trying to find when I have to find something, and I know that it's easy to find, it just for some reason becomes very, very hard to find what I'm looking for. It just disappears, and then later on, after the video is done and uploaded, it just appears like, oh, you needed me? Oh, sorry, I was late. But it was some sort of 300 millimeter. It kind of looked like a Kraus Heinz 300 millimeter because I remember it having this base here. Uh, it was probably a filtered one that somebody painted. Somebody painted it a milky-ish, grayish blue, I guess you can say. It was weird, but yeah, just a milky blue color. Just some random person painted a 300 millimeter, a Kraus Heinz, I believe. They just painted it a milky blue, I guess. It's weird how I can't find the image when I need it. It's just weird how you can't find anything when you need it at a specific moment, like right now. Oh well, that was every 300 millimeter. Probably most because there's probably still much more out there. So yeah, see y'all later. Bye.